Hello everybody, the Nameless Narcissist here once again. Simple man diagnosed with NPD. Give me the facts of narcissistic personality disorder and the things that go on in my head. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. But keep in mind, I'm no clinician. Oh gosh, I can only speak to my own experiences. Anyway, so my dude, John Small, I'm not coming at him by the way. He indicated a little bit of skepticism over my IQ, which is fair because narcissists do exaggerate that, and he pointed that out. But I am very prideful about my intelligence, so I wanted to prove that, and I thought it would be a good excuse to read off my psych eval, which is really interesting. But I would say, I was just going to start it off, just kind of dive into it. A lot of it is related to my cognitive functioning. So I'm going to try to skim through that and get to the personality part of it, because I think that's what people will be more interested in. I'm curious who's going to see these traits in me, because some of them are really weird. It said I was introverted, which I was in a little bit more of a vulnerable state when this happened, so who knows, maybe that's why, but that's the only thing in it that I found really, really wrong. Jacob underwent a neuropsychological evaluation in order to assess his current level of neurocognitive functioning and source of his presenting problems. According to Jacob, he has difficulties in the areas of depression, anxiety, attention, obsessiveness, low frustration tolerance, low self-esteem, constant lying, distressed interpersonal relationships, and anger issues. Most of that was a lie. I just want to get my IQ tested. In addition, Jacob stated that he has trouble with initiating a new plan or activity, time management, planning, organization, initiation/motivation, impulsivity, and working memory. Jacob also has a history of suicidal attempts and substance abuse, which includes alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. According to Jacob, he currently drinks a lot of alcohol almost every day. This was when I was 21, by the way, 20 or 21. By the way, in the personality portion of this, it doesn't mention personality disorders because I was already diagnosed and we weren't really looking at that too much. I just didn't feel comfortable diagnosing a personality disorder when it was somebody who was self-aware and also had, like, it's one fucking assessment. So basically, the results of the neuropsychological evaluation revealed the pattern of his cognitive and psychological traits is consistent with the presence of major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, combined type, and cognitive disorder, particularly regarding his cognitive disorder. The results of Jacob's neuropsychological evaluation support the presence of an executive function disorder. In addition, from a brain behavioral perspective, the results of Jacob's neuropsychological evaluation support the symptoms of nonverbal learning disorder, which constitutes dysfunction in the right cerebral hemisphere process, which I found really interesting because that's actually where the part of the brain that has to do with empathy is located, somewhere around here. His NVLD, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so apparently I have a learning disability too, which is awesome. Apparently, she said that's what brought down my IQ score a lot. So the result of a neuropsychological evaluation reveals that Jacob's global intellectual ability as measured by the Welcher Adult Intelligence Scale can be classified as very superior, FSIQ 135, and above that of approximately 99% of his peers. There's a 95% chance that his true IQ is between 130 and 138. However, in Jacob's case, the FSIQ is less meaningful because there's large discrepancies between scores that compose the verbal scale and the performance scale. So basically it's saying maybe I'm more smart, maybe I'm less smart, because there's, in basically every subset, it had a wildly different, it was all, like, for example, working memory. Since I have ADHD, my working memory was like fucking nothing. And on the other hand, my verbal comprehension was 148. So, which I'm hoping that's the correct one. Anyways, but yeah, and you can see, I'm just going fucking like, can you see? No, it's upside down. Fuck, never mind, I hope you take my word for it. Okay, anyways, yeah, fucking, oh, and just to prove it more that I'm not just trying to self-aggrandize, apparently I have the spelling ability of a fifth grader, which makes sense. I'm terrible at spelling. Because the only ones that were like consistent were the 148 one, I forget what it was. My performance score, my nonverbal reasoning, then my working memory was consistent, but that was below average. I was 92. And then not processing speed. Those are the ones I can find. The performance score was like 125 or something like that. Anyways, but yeah, my ADHD brought it down a fucking lot. Pissed me off. And then the rest of this is just fucking Christ. It's all just cognitive functioning. Anyways. Additionally, the pattern of his performance reflects his symptoms of depression and anxiety interfered with his cognitive efficiency, I doubt, such as memory and attention. Of significant note was capacity for learning and memory were greatly compromised by his emotional factors such as anxiousness and feeling of being overwhelmed. I don't think I was overwhelmed. Maybe I was. Okay, so here's the personality. So here's the personality portion of it. Pertaining to Jacob's emotion/behavior, the results of his personality test reveals that he tends to experience a moderate to severe level of emotional distress characterized by dysmorphia, anxiety, agitation, anhedonia. His effect is likely to be blunted or inappropriate. He also seems to feel resentful and angry and has difficulty controlling or expressing his anger appropriately. I wasn't in therapy for very long when this happened, when this was taken, by the way. Additionally, in response to stress, he is likely to either withdraw completely or to act out on his angry impulses. He is likely to feel insecure, isolated, rejected, and unwanted. He tends to be threatened by a world which he views as hostile and dangerous. He finds it very difficult to get things done in his life and has little hope of being successful if he could get motivated at doing something. Jacob also tends to have difficulty concentrating on tasks. He seems to exhibit poor judgment and is often unpredictable and impulsive. He tends to feel as if things are not real, I guess that's dissociation, and is worried that there is something wrong with his mind. Where I thought, again, I was in a vulnerable state when this was taken, so I wonder if I would take it in a grandiose state, how that would affect things. In regards to his interpersonal relations, he tends to be introverted, lacks basic social skills, and tends to be socially withdrawn and isolated. I don't know where the fuck she got that one from. He is likely to have difficulty with close emotional relationships. He appears to be emotionally distant, feels lonely, and believes that no one understands him and his problems. His tendency to feel rejected by others often tends to lead to hostility and conflict, which only exacerbate his feelings of being alienated from others. He also tends to see his family as extremely uncaring and critical, and his home life is very unpleasant. Well, I mean, that one's just true. Most importantly, Jacob's personality profile reveals that Jacob is likely to have suicidal ideation, and his isolation, hopelessness, and proneness to act out impulsively towards himself tends to increase the potential for suicide. He is also very likely to abuse substances, which also tends to increase the probability of acting out. Jacob's difficulties with social aspects are likely to correlate with his understanding of situations, social cues, social judgment, social withdrawal, and isolation. Difficulty adjusting to transitions and novel situations, and deficits in social interaction. This one is just like fucking off the wall. Jacob's difficulties are not likely a lack of interaction, so much of a lack of effectiveness at interaction. Therefore, knowing how to make connections socially and establishing meaningful and productive friendships are likely to be challenging for him. See, it feels like this got like a lot of shit right and then just attributed it to completely buck wild reasoning. It's particularly inclined towards seriously debilitating forms of internalizing psychopathology such as depression, anxiety, withdrawal, and in some cases suicide. The results of neuropsychological evaluation reveals that Jacob demonstrated a remarkably high level of intellectual functioning. However, it is evident that he is suffering from various disorders. Therefore, the following recommendations are advised: medical management/interventions by a psychiatrist for his major depressive disorder, anxiety, and ADHD. Continue psychotherapy with a current counselor at least 2 times a week, and participate in drug alcohol rehabilitation for his alcohol abuse. Yeah, none of that happened. Some of it did. But yeah, that was my neuropsych eval. Literally, I took it for the purpose of getting an IQ test because I'm a fucking narcissist and need to prove I'm better than people. Which IQ tests are terrible in that way because it's literally a percentile score. But yeah, regardless. I think that really indicates some of the flaws in personality tests and stuff like that is that, it's that, NPD is a construct that's supposed to encapsulate certain behaviors and internal cognitions that never line up completely well, especially since we have to work with such a large group who all the symptoms are going to be different to some degree. I mean, don't get me wrong, like fucking me and Tess are like identical, spirit narc that is, are identical 90% of the time, but at the same time, we differ in a lot of ways. Our goals, motivations, what the fuck ever. But yeah. So not much else to say about that. I just thought that might be interesting for some people. Hope you all have a good day. Take your fucking meds, please. Oh wait, where are my glasses? Fuck it.